It's been 6 months since Cyclone Gabrielle smashed into Te Tairawhiti, the east coast, destroying hundreds of homes, leaving 11 people dead and causing billions of dollars worth of damage. More than 1,400 households have been displaced and many are stuck in a state of limbo, awaiting council decisions on property buyouts and flood protection. Alexa Cook has the story.
It's not the retirement Lynn Noa dreamed of.
Come in.
Now living in a caravan, she'd prefer a time machine to whisk her back to life before Cyclone Gabrielle. Instead, she's named her Portaloo after Doctor Who's one.
That is the TARDIS. It has a name. So this is our retirement home.
Her beautiful brand new home was ruined by floodwaters.
It came up to about, it was up to my neck as we got out.
So she's been bouncing between friends, family and here.
It's hard, it's cold, it's a different way of living. Living rough, we are living rough and that, but yeah, what can you do?
Not much, because their whole street is in Category 2A. It means no one can live here unless flood protection is built. The current risk to life is simply considered too high. They'll either be red zoned or allowed to rebuild.
We feel like we've got no power. Our power's been taken away.
A feeling her neighbour is all too familiar with.
What's the 6 months been like?
That's a tough question. I would say it's been horrible. Some days are a lot harder to get out the door. Is it white chip? I think.
The uncertainty of Category 2A is crippling.
Limbo, can't do anything, can't touch anything, can't make any decisions, just have to wait.
They are perhaps the most uncertain category, and what we're doing at the moment is going through a process of looking at potential engineering solutions. Category 2A is probably one of the toughest spots to be in at the moment.
A tough spot the government's $203 million of flood protection should help with. The council's aiming to have answers about how it'll be spent in a matter of weeks.
But I don't want to promise to people exact dates because some of those sites are really complex.
That's not surprising, given this is what the Esk Valley looked like in March, smothered in millions of tonnes of silt. This is it in August, still a complete mess, and most red zone homeowners are waiting for a buyout offer from council, a cost that'll be split 50-50 with the government. 6 months on, and this is what some parts of Hawke's Bay still look like. Here in Esk Valley, many homes are still filled with debris and silt, frozen in time, as people try and work out what to do next.
It's just a struggle, and there's actually probably more frustration and more anger now because everyone's sort of coming to the reality that nothing's happening fast.
Sandra runs the Esk Valley Community Hub, supporting cyclone victims. But it's getting harder as donations of food, fuel and supplies are drying up.
It's our last toothpaste. We just don't have the help that we had before. We don't have the donations coming in. Everyone keeps saying you're 6 months, you should have moved on by now, when it's like, you know, we're 6 months in. That doesn't necessarily mean we've moved on. We've got a hell of a lot of work ahead of us.
Although, bit by bit, the region's recovery is progressing.
We've probably moved well over 1,000 households now to the point where they have some certainty.
But Lynn is still worried her dream of a relaxing retirement is slipping away.
I don't want to be too old to enjoy it in the end. You know, my husband said, God, we're going to be dead before we can get this organised.
Amidst all the devastation, it's easy to get overwhelmed. But as life goes on, signs of hope are emerging. Alexa Cook, News Hub.
Gabrielle's fury was also felt on Auckland's west coast, where many people are facing the same unanswered questions about the fate of their homes. And as Adam Hollingworth reports, with insurance cover for temporary accommodation running out, they're getting desperate for answers.
Muriwai firefighters rescued Rosa Downs' mother just as a landslip trapped and killed two of their colleagues next door.
They had to carry her down, and just as they got to the bottom of the driveway there, the slip came down, so the neighbour's house fell at that moment and pushed her over the road. They both ended up at the lodge here, which was all washed out.
Incredibly, the house remains intact but is deteriorating.
It's my home, but Yeah, it's my mum's home of 40 years.
But she's been told, go up that driveway and face a fine of $200,000.
It's just been limbo, like we just feel like stagnant and we've been waiting this whole time.
The family's now renting with Mum.
She just, had never felt so ungrounded, She just wanted to be at home.
Ungrounded, like nearly a third of Muriwai's residents.
Across the road from us was a river of brown water, so strong it was hitting a car that was parked there and creating a wave over the top and flooding down into people's sections down below.
Mike Hibbert is one of hundreds of displaced residents.
It was pretty traumatic. Had to wake up the kids, pull them out of bed, find the dogs, find the cat, get them into the car and get out.
With little progress, they say they've become a political football.
We are still really stressed out about what comes next. The government and the council are scrabbling, fighting over who's going to pay for what.
It's a similar scene in Karekare, homes shunted downhill, resting at crazy angles, entangled with trees. At least a dozen homes are red-stickered. In Muriwai, 96 homes are red-stickered. The events of 6 months ago are being marked with the creation of sand art at the beach, a community service and a catch-up at the surf club. It comes at a time of transition for the people of Muriwai. Most insurance companies have paid for people to live elsewhere for 6 months, but that time is running out. On the plus side, they've been informed they should be told the fate of their homes in weeks.
We're really bewildered about why it's taken so long to get to where we are.
Decisions are imminent, but no one yet knows if Auckland's west coast will ever return to being that rugged but vibrant destination it was. Adam Hollingworth, News Hub.